Thank you, everybody, for being here. We have a very, very interesting conversation today with one of my favorite teachers in the world, a person that really, really changed my life when I was really needed, when I was sick with lupus, RA, fibromyalgia, and I was with that horrible depression that I just wanted to clock out. And it really transformed my life. Spirit took me to her. It was a social media post, the more simple post that you can imagine. And of course, I did not believe in myself then. And the post says, I'm looking for 12 magical women. And I saw it and I laugh and laugh and laugh. And either way, laughing about me, I sent her a message. And in that time, that was many, many years ago, I have never talked with anyone through Messenger. And she called me. And I was, okay, do I receive this phone call? Because it was the first time I ever received a phone call in Messenger. And I did. And tell me, and she asked me, okay, where are you at? Like, I'm lost. I was time jumping in that time. I did not knew what it was time jumping, but I was just doing it. I was completely lost, and I thought I was getting crazy. And I explained her, and she told me, oh, I can help you. And so it's like you're accepted in my class. It's like, oh, I was in an interview. It was in an interview so I can get into her program. Like, yes. It's like, oh my God, thank God I did not knew because or else I will fail. So that one. So everything worked just as the universe wanted to work. So this woman, Karyn Davis, she changed my life in so many levels, in so many ways. I discovered who I was. I discovered about the programs that today we're going to be talking a little bit about it, and how our subconscious actually is the one that running the show, not our conscious. So we are going to be talking a little bit about that, and we're going to be talking about the body knowledge, the dynamics of the body knowledge, and a little bit of NLP. That those techniques that I learned from her, they were so amazing that in that time I told her, I want to just become your apprentice because I wanted to learn everything from her. And to this day, I still want to. And every time I get close to her, I learn and I learn and I learn and I learn. So that's why we're doing this conversation, because I want you to pick your curiosity. And at the same time, if you have any questions, please put it in the comments. We're going to be answering them, because I really highly recommend you, this woman that completely transformed my life. And now I help many other people transform their lives thanks to the knowledge that I acquire here. So, in an honoring to my beautiful teacher, we are here. Karyn, thank you so much. I don't have even words to express all my gratitude that I have for you.
I think you just did in that sentence and you are helping so many other people now and healing and being there for other people. That says everything. That to me says everything. So thank you. Hello to everybody and anybody who drops in for a listen in. Monica's quite right. It was a few years ago now, and we were all sort of new to online at that stage, and you've just crafted your own journey so beautifully, Monica, and I've witnessed and watched you go from very victimized space, if I can call it that, and be dedicated and committed and fully embrace your own inner journey and have just quite revolutionized your whole cells in your body, the energetics. And yes, you're right, you were jumping around time and space, and now you see, well, now you're just more skilled in knowing what you're doing, and I just love to witness that too. So thank you.
Yes, I was completely feeling the victim. Everything happened to me, and instead of observing it in a different way, that everything was happening for me. And yes, I was a drama queen. I was like, oh my God, everybody can hurt me and so forth. So I was really a drama queen in that time. So
me too. I've done drama. I've done it, and hey, it is a part of It's a part of humaning. It's one aspect of the experiences that we have. So it can just be, some of us deserve some stage recognition, really, in how dramatic we can be, how believable in our own illusions we can be.
But you know what is the funny part? Once that you start understanding the drama, you run from drama. It's like I cannot even see a movie that is, or a series of movies that is so dramatic. Like, oh my God, this is too much for me. Like, I can't take.
Can be a bit like that.
It's the games of the ego play. Once that you understand it, how the ego play in our heads and everybody, that's when you start like, oh, I know that game. I don't want to play that game. And the majority of people, they don't know they're playing a game or they're part of a game of someone else.
Mm. It's interesting because the energetic interactions, the energies that flow between us and relation, well, first ourselves in relationship, and then ourselves and another person, as you're saying, you know, we're playing a game, or we're playing roles, because we often need someone else to participate in the experience that we want to have. And I'm going to line this up for a little bit for the emotional tone scale, which is something that Monica, this year, at the end of the year, you'll be deeply diving into, by the way, the emotional tone scale, which some people call it low vibration and then high vibration. Well, that's a perspective. If we were to perceive that something's wrong and something's right, they are energies that have a movement and a feel for us, and the way we decode them in our mind will, as an experience, be an emotion. So if I'm feeling, if I'm playing a victim in a role, I need an aggressor, right? So I need to be able to feel my victimness, my energy of feeling scared or upset or terrified or done to or abused. Those are all words, though. They're only words. They're only words until we go, how is this Karyn making meaning of this? How is she putting together the images, the sounds, and the movements inside of the body to create that experience? And that's, I guess, my life's work, is this fascination for how we construct our inner worlds. And the emotional tone scale is this push and pull, or you can see it's spiralic, so that it goes around and around, and we sort of can go up from apathy, feeling absolutely nothing, just like you said, wanting to just lock out, not be here. There's hardly any movement in the energy. And as we come up the emotional tone scale, we might move through words. They're all words, but they're still emotions. It could be sadness, it could be anger. I'm making massive leaps, by the way, people, into interest. And in interest, we're sort of getting into a little bit of, or bored and then interest, we're getting into actually the life-giving force energy again. Something that will feed our souls, that will feed us, that interests us. And then we can move into feeling intrigued or curious or happy or joyful, that kind of experience. And when we feel pretty sad, like when we're upset or angry or sad, it's a mighty leap from sad to joy. It's just energetically a mighty leap. However, your brain, your body, and if we know how to construct within us what we believe joy feels like, then we can navigate to it more easily. It has nothing to do with anyone doing anything outside of us. It has everything to do with us understanding our innards. So, Monica, I believe that that's been the beautiful journey you've been down. It's this learning yourself, being with yourself, shifting the vibrational frequencies and understanding yourself along the way.
Something that you taught me was how to become being the observer of my thoughts and my own emotions. And that was so magical. So magical because then you're in control of your own life. You're in control of your own thoughts and your own emotions. And in that time when I was so depressed that I wanted to clock out, and I remember taking your classes, I learned it's like, oh, I can hear the voices that of course they're gonna push me down, but I don't have to put attention to it. It is a choice. It's like, oh my God, I have a choice to snap out of that emotions and don't hear the voices that I'm hearing that I'm worthless or this or that, whatever it was, those voices putting me down. I can choose different to the other voices that I'm hearing at the same time. Because something that people do not understand that once that we can have felt in any of our life, in our life, the emotions of self-love or compassion or peace or those things, we can bring it back to the present moment when we need it.
Yes.
And that can shift so easy. And that's something that I learned from you. And it was just magical.
Mm.
We don't understand how much the words, like you mentioned, are the ones that actually are going to shift us and are going to change our reality. And the
They
same.
do. They do shift because reality is such an interesting, we have the agreed reality between us, but we also have our inner realities.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure if somebody's listening along with us, they have a perspective of what it was like for themselves growing up. And then if they have siblings, they hear the same story, they might have a slightly different story around it. It can happen, right? So these are our memories, and all our memories are actually myths, but we reconstruct them, and they're connected to the emotional tone scale. They're connected, our memories, oh my gosh, there's so much here that wants to come out. I'll just choose my words and make it practical. So our memories are made up of so many different things that we can teach through neurolinguistic programming or through the dynamic body of knowledge. We can actually show you how you do yourself. And once you learn how you do yourself, you can begin to understand, and as Monica says, to be able to be the observer in how you're constructing your life, literally, how you're putting yourself together like a little robot. It's just insane. It is just so cool as well. And to witness other people the way they do it. So what's really exciting in our software program in us, there's things that are completely out of our conscious awareness. And at a master practitioner level, this is what we look to. It's how we choose our memories. How do we know how to go and find certain memories appropriate for the situation? And it's in our sorting through our filters, just like a computer, we have certain filters that are before we even know they're happening. Everyone has them. Some of them make us very procedural. So, I like to start step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. This is how you do the dishes. This is how you clean the bench. This is how I brush my teeth. There's only one way to do it. It has to be this way specifically, the water turns on, the toothbrush comes out, I tap it 3 times kind of idea. And then I put the toothpaste on the brush and then I'm not finished until I've brushed my teeth for X amount of minutes, and then I put the cap back on and I put it back in there and tap, tap, tap 3 times on the sink and put the toothbrush down. Now, that's not my way of doing it, but some people are very procedural in that. And they may or may not even notice how procedural they are. Whereas somebody else might be really optional. They want to do it different every time. They're very creative in their toothbrushing ideas or their cleaning of the bench or how they do things. Now, this is often what we perceive to be differences between us, is these little ways of how we do things. Those are just two examples of, quite honestly, I don't even know the number of different meta programs that there are that actually we are filtering through consistently. And I'm more than happy to talk about that if it's relevant. Coming back to what you were saying, Monica, this observation, being able to sit and witness and participate with how we construct our world, how we're making meaning of it, and to understand ourselves, why we get in a tiz sometimes, why we feel comfortable around some people and not others. It's not just judgments. It can be very much to do with how they do their process. And by the way, none is right or wrong. What's interesting is some work better in some areas of life.
That is so true, because in a way, we all have filters. Everybody has filters, even if they're conscious or unconscious, but actually they're always unconscious. But because we're not aware. I remember a while back when I started Soul Talk, I was interviewing artists, and I started asking them, what is your ritual you have before you start a painting? And they were like, oh, a ritual. Like, yes. Like, you have to have your coffee, your wine, or your music, what kind of music, or your brushes in certain place, your paints in certain place. And it's like, oh, yes. And that's when they put attention that they have a different ritual. And all of the artists we do, we have a different ritual that we follow before we start creating a piece.
Yes.
And that's exactly how is life before we start cooking, before we meet people, before we make love, before we do everything in our lives, not only waking up.
Yeah, that's right.
And
That
we
is so
call it
right.
rituals, or we can call it different ways, but it is the same thing. And the thing is, we don't put attention enough on the rituals that we actually do every day.
Because they're so outside of our awareness often. And
Mhm.
that's okay. That's okay. And that can be our connection to time and how we understand time to be. When we don't feel time's happening to us, when we can be in a space of awareness of how we interact with time, that can give us more observation, as you call it,
Yes.
to witness our rituals. I love how you said that. That's so beautiful.
I've been trying to explain how extensive with all the modalities that NLP have. And because NLP, I find it fascinating to this day, because it is so extensive and it can go very in so many levels, in so many ways. It is so extensive program that, can you talk a little bit more about NLP? You can give a way better explanation than I do.
Yeah, yeah, I'm happy to. Um, so neuro-linguistic programming. Neurolinguistics. So let's just come back to the basics. Neuro is the neurology of the brain and the body, the neurology, how things are put together. Neurolinguistics, so the language of the body. And that's not just the words. That's the structure of meaning making, the structure of how language, every single word, this is interesting, every single word actually interacts with the system or the neurology of you. So we've got this neurology happening with the whole body. And then we have the language, which is the seen and unseen meaning making and connections with ourself and other people. And then we have the programming, which is the, like you said, the rituals, the habits, the routines. So that it's based around that. And that's why it's got such a huge application, because everybody is the master of their own self in their current knowledge of themselves. What neuro-linguistic programming has been able to do is to label and point to and discover from another person who does something really well, how they do that really well, not just from the outside, but from the inside of them. Discover it so deeply, literally chart it down, and then teach somebody else that skill. So where it was first discovered, I guess, and studied was through Virginia Satir, so a family counselor who did beautiful work on the relationships, like you said, of people in a family. And she would interrupt their process. And she had a lovely set of words that she used as well, that would, and she used her body also to break some patterns inside of family. She was very well known. Fritz Perls was another person, and Milton Erickson. So these three different people who were good at what they do were studied by a mathematician and a language specialist. I'm just taking the very top story of it. And so they went through observing really deeply what were the patterns that were working. And then they played with those patterns. And then other people, when they had that understanding and framework, could play more with the patterns inside of people who did things of excellence, which everyone does, by the way. So that's why it's across so much. It is your physiology and how you're using it. Your physical body is directing your mind, how you hold it, how you use it. Your mind is affecting your physical body. Your emotions are a part of that wheel. So that's just those aspects. And then, of course, we have the social interactions, what we call beliefs and values. They're all still just words, by the way. And they're ways of labeling what we can visibly see in another person or feel within ourselves. Because it's very hard to see ourselves unless we're in front of a mirror. Have you ever noticed that?
Yes.
It just fascinates me. I can't see myself unless I'm looking at the camera here, but I want to see Monica, right? Unless we're in front of a mirror, or now with recording, we have such a subjective experience of ourselves. Are you comfortable with me talking this freely, Monica?
Please do. This is fascinating. How you're explaining it, I love it.
So we can't see ourselves, but we can through other people. And when we explore how we are made up, all the little parts and the labels, it makes it very easy to appreciate how magnificent we really are. Instead of those moments of just feeling like, I still have fleeting moments of feeling like separate from myself and not so fabulous about something. That's human. That's humaning. It's a part of our experience. And I then watch myself in those processes as in I'm observing, because that's also humaning. To witness the unfolding of our experience. Our experiences are so, so deep, so deeply intricate, and they're ours. And what I love about this work is learning ourselves, learning about ourselves. And in learning about ourselves, often we make a real difference in the lives of other people, because we can, you know how simple it is. If you know a city really well, let's say you know a city or a region very well, you can get around in that city very well. If you don't know the city, if you go to a new city and you don't know it very well, you are constantly exploring, right?
And the thing is with this, everybody thinks that they know themselves, but in a deeper level, they don't. The majority of human beings, they don't know what is their triggers. They don't know what it is going to bring you a memory, like you were mentioning early, that why we like some people, why we don't like other people.
Yeah.
To do with something that happened when we were 5 years old. And nothing to do with the person that we're meeting now. It's a very different person. In fact, it might be in a different country. But that memory from the 5-year-old that you don't put attention in your awareness, that trigger you, is going to come out 20, 30, 40 years later.
It's weird, isn't it? It's really interesting because so much feeds into that. Why that memory? So, why that memory, I go? How did that memory get chosen? For what purpose? And it could be multiple reasons. One could be it's the energy or the emotion that's connected to it. Another one, it could be an anchor. It could be our brain grabbing something familiar. One of the only things it has available that was maybe often it's the original imprint. So I'll tell you a little story. So this morning we were talking about horses. So here's a very raw, real one from this morning where a memory came up within me. And I felt it. So I had this memory of, we were talking about horses on our farm or coming to our farm. And, and I said, oh my God, I just remember getting off the bus and being chased by the horse in the front paddock. And I felt in that moment, in that memory, I reconstructed the scariness of an 8-year-old child with her little brother running with our bags on our backs from the bus stop, trying to get to across the creek before the horse would come to us, right? So, but the horse soon learned, and it loved chasing children, because when children run, it's fun to chase, right? It would see the bus. It had connected the bus to us getting off. So then it would kick up its heels and run alongside of the fence. And then I would go freak out mode because, and I'm telling you this story. This is me recreating the experience in the moment. Now, for what purpose? And in this moment here, this is to share how quickly accessible we can make memories, the impressionable ones, the ones that had fear running through me, through my system. But why this morning? Because we were making a decision. So my system offered a scary moment from the past for me to then consider in our decision-making process. Now, did it really matter? No, it ended up being a laugh that my husband and I had. But it's a good example of how impressions, deep structured feelings that happen in our past are brought forward. That is our system giving us knowledge and wisdom, where we can then upgrade it, which of course is what we did, because I'm no longer a 8-year-old with a backpack on my on my back being dropped off after school at the bus, right? But that also taught me a lot of respect for being in paddocks, for checking safety. That has kept me safe a lot over time. So they all have purpose. It's not to just remove it completely from my memory. It's a useful memory to know about. What I've done since is built more reference structures or meaning around it so that I can feel more empowered. Yeah. that happens through experience.
This is
Monica, I've really been talking a lot.
just a little example of a memory of a horse. But they're let's see, something that I encounter with the majority of my clients, it is the unworthiness. And I
Is
bet
the what?
unworthiness, that they don't feel they're worthy. And this is a very common, it's very common between many people in the world, that they don't feel worthy. So the choices that they do in their lives, the base it is not feeling worthy. And this is something that is in and out with all my clients, that I have, and I'm working with them in that way, like I used to have it too. And but NLP actually helped tremendously, neurolinguistic programming, to actually work with that, with more knowledge how to work with that. So like that, my choices that now that I do in my life, they had to do now that I am worthy instead of unworthiness. And NLP was wonderful because, yes, we relate everything to past traumas or things that people said, and they make an imprint, like you mentioned. So, can we talk a little more about something that is more common with everybody, about like that one? That
Sure. Well, rather than the horse one, you mean?
I like the idea.
That's how we build. It's memories like that and how we build our understandings. So let's talk about not worthy. That's a very adult way of that's an adult way of saying how someone's feeling. Yeah. So if we go through to what it might have been for somebody, anybody in their past who have had an experience where they didn't, unworthy could be not measuring up, not big enough, disappointed somebody, got in trouble, got a frown from them. It could be told off, so a vibrational voice could really affect somebody, or it could be to great degrees of abuse or something like that. It could be an experience at school where they're not measuring up in the classroom. So unworthy is a really big adult name for deep feelings.
Yeah.
And I love this about humans. I love this about us. I love this about the fact that we do experience as though we are not worthy. And my question here is, worthy of what specifically? What are we comparing ourselves to? What is it specifically? And how are we deciding that? And neurolinguistic programming would explore, when was that decided? For what purpose? We might also indicate, is that still true now? Are we still making a part of our past be our truth now and into our future? And does that actually serve us? So with neurolinguistic programming, we use words to wobble beliefs a little bit. We also use them to guide, because beliefs, like you say, Monica, I mean, they're structures. Beliefs are structures. They're thoughts that have come from experience. And the experience that we believe we had can be very different than the truth.
That is so true.
Or it can be, we might have distorted it. But we would have had some level of distortion in it, because This is a simple way of saying it, but it's very true. When a child draws a picture when they're first starting to draw, I'm sure you've all seen it, long legs and a head and arms. Because if you think about it, that's how a child's looking at their adult from the floor. And that perspective changes as the child starts to go to school, really, and have other children their size. Then they understand height differences. So they'll draw I was looking at my niece's drawing the other day, and this is all relevant to neurolinguistic programming. It's all perspective. And my niece had drawn her family, and she'd gotten everyone's size. So she's now 6. Gotten everybody's size sorted out on her paper, because she's at the age where she's understanding compare and contrast. When we're adults and we are still moving around with our old compare and contrasts and we haven't updated them, that's why we will feel unworthy and separate, because we haven't had the opportunity yet to reconnect to ourselves in such a way that makes that real difference. Another thing that's beautiful, can I carry on?
I have never thought about it, about the why the kids draw the long people. And yes, you're totally right. I never thought of that one, but it is a very good explanation about it.
It's perspective. And this is really relevant to our beliefs. If we're holding the perspective of when we're not feeling worthy, and we hold that structure, we will keep looking. It becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. And we keep seeing that because that's our filter. We keep feeling that because it's our deep under feeling. And we keep talking inside of our head around it, so that we build this city inside of ourselves about feeling unworthy.
Having experience and making choices that people are going to prove you that you're unworthy because that's what you feel.
Yeah.
And the same universe is going to give you, oh, you want more of this. Let me give you more experience of this because that's what you're asking me.
Yeah.
Until we become aware.
So if anybody wants to, they can grab a pen and paper. Grab a pen and paper and just sort of doodle while we're talking here. So the brain loves compare and contrast. Right? And it'll also go to the quickest route or route to get an outcome. Now, if we constantly keep the same outcome of I just feel unworthy, and I just want to feel differently, but we don't construct it differently in our head, the brain doesn't know how to go and do that or recognize it when it's happening. So what would be the opposite to feeling unworthy? What would that even be? Let's play for a little bit.
So it will be the empowered human being, and that I'm worthy. I love myself. It is all those things.
So it's a combination. And this is what's really important here. So there's probably a combination in feeling not worthy too. So it would be this whole thing about feeling empowered as a human being, loving myself and feeling worthy. And so if somebody's got a pen and paper right now, write down what it is for you. What is that? What's the opposite to feeling unworthy? So it's feeling worthy, it's feeling love of self, feeling like an empowered human being. So with what Monica says. Okay, so what would that feel like if you were already that? What would that feel like? How would you see the world then? What would you be hearing inside of your head if you were already worthy? And just make a few of those notes down. So it's likely that the inner world changes in this regard, because the movies start to change, the lighting begins to change. The voice inside, when we're feeling worthy, will shift. when we feel self-love, when we feel connected inside of ourselves, there was some kind of sound. It could be a rhythm. Be quiet. The shift happens inside the person first. So as you know, Monica, the process of being the empowered person feels inside the body as we think about it. Would you agree?
I agree. And to everybody that is watching right now or later on, this is one of the techniques of neurolinguistic programming. There are thousands, there is very extensive. But this shifting that it just occurred right now, for if you did exercise, I recommend you to go back and do it because this is going to create a shift. And this is just a tiny little part
Tiny little pieces.
of what is
Yeah.
neurolinguistic programming.
So she's
To,
right. Monica, you're wonderful. Yeah, it is the structure of how you do you. And it is that simple when we understand. So now the brain has a idea of what it's seeking. Oh, so I'd feel like that. That's what feeling worthy feels like. That's what feeling loved feels like. It feels warm and probably soft and quite expansive. I'm guessing, I don't know, everybody is going to have it coded slightly differently. And so then you can begin to see yourself in the world where you do feel worthy. And it just becomes this natural image. And this is a technique of neurolinguistic programming, which is creating a desired state and creating the strategies, the way of doing it inside of our body. When we can see ourselves behaving differently, we've created a future opportunity for ourselves to walk towards in real life. And we pre-designed the path in our neurology so that we recognize it. It's the same thing as moving through a city and knowing your landmarks. Yeah. Now, if the roads get changed, which is what happens in the neurology of the brain when we shift our focus to, oh, that's what worthiness feels like. Oh my gosh, that's what it feels like to feel self-love. My heart feels warm. I feel in the center of my body. My body feels warm. I feel a sense of stillness. I feel it rising up within me. I feel like I smell, that smells fresh. That's like setting up a new driving path in your life. That's a new highway, a new road being built.
Karyn, can you explain a little bit about the dynamic body knowledge?
Yeah, yeah.
Because this is part of everything we're talking, but let's expand in there.
And thanks for the opportunity, Monica. Dynamic body of knowledge is what we have called it, and it's neuro-linguistic programming, the basic practitioner certification. That's the first one. 18 days long. It's an in-depth program, understanding yourself. This coming up this next year, I'm going to break it into parts. I'm literally going to run days that are not the certification, but under the dynamic body of knowledge. We might spend a weekend learning how to do the 6-step reframe, all the little parts that need to happen in there. Learning how to actually lead a meditation, learning how to use or to question usefully, how to help your children question usefully. So we use the meta program, the meta model for that. Why would we want to do that? Well, questions are very powerful. And to learn little small techniques along the way that can help you in everyday life, how to shift your state fast, how to use the neurology, your physical body by choice, understanding how you learn, understanding why you'll have your triggers, as Monica said, or your rejections to certain things is because of the programming that we have. Maybe there's so much there. So that's what I'm doing this next year, is breaking it into parts so that it's really accessible for people online. Later in the year, we're doing a major program, which is the master practitioner level, and that is dynamic bodies of wisdom. You can just make an image in your mind of a magician with heart who appears to do magic. And the appearance of it is because they understand systems deeply. They can entertain and they can lead. And that's what we're doing later in the year. So the type of trainer that I am is really important because I'm not for everybody. So understand the work that someone would experience with me is very embodied practices. It's about you being able to know it and feel it in your physiological body being. Totally in acceptance of energy and the influence of vibrational frequencies. So although we teach theory, and I will participate in an understanding, a structural thinking-based understanding, and so that you know it and you have a design of the city, you have a map of the city, you will also be streetwise in the kind of training that I do. It won't be just that you're ahead. I know about NLP because I heard about it and I've read about it. No, you'll actually be able to lead and guide because your learning processes, your ahas are going to be inside of you, not just at an idea level.
Let me give just an example about what you're saying. I took NLP basically online before Karyn. And yes, I had a certificate from there. I read it, I did exam, it was basically I have to read it, watch some videos, and I did exam and so forth. And here's your certificate. And when I finished, I was like, I don't know anything. I don't understand anything what it was just happened. It's like, great, I have a certificate of I don't know even know what. So of course I was not going to use that for my clients because how was going to help someone that I did not understand it at all. So that's why when I took the class again with Karyn for the second time and neuro-linguistic programming, it was a lot of practice. It was a lot of knowledge. It was now really embodying it. And that was completely a shift. Because yes, you can find it everywhere, but the thing is, you're not going to learn it. I don't care if you buy all the books of NLP. If you don't have someone to practice it or explain it, because there are going to be things that they're going to be confusing, that they actually can explain it to you and practice it, you're not going to understand it. And obviously, you're not going to be a good practitioner. That's why I took it twice. And the second time I took it with Karyn, and it really shifted. It really changed. And now that's what I use mainly with my clients. What I learned from Karyn, not what I learned from the other one that it was just read it, here's the exam, and here's the certificate. It was completely useless, waste of time and money.
Yeah, yeah. I understand. I do understand what you're saying because, well, it's learning the art of us. And it's so, oh my God, I just get really impassioned by it. And inside of just this conversation, I just sit in awe. I do. I just sit in awe at the magnificence that you are, Monica, and anyone who is listening, and how I deserve, just like you, to know that magnificence on a daily basis. And we can do this through understanding ourselves. Neuro-linguistic programming, or the dynamic body of knowledge, which is what I've called it, because I also bring in a lot of the other modalities that I have I have learned over the years. And hey, I'm always learning too. I'm not pretending I know everything. In fact, every day I wake up and I'm curious as to what I'm going to learn today, kind of thing. What I know truly, truly works is the intention to show up, to learn, and to participate and practice, like Monica says, makes such a vast difference. And you'll make a real difference in your family's life, in your own life, and other people's lives. If you have clients, if you already work with people, it will make a difference. If you're a massage therapist and you get some of these interventions under your belt, it is quite incredible what difference it can make.
Yes. So you're going to be teaching soon a class. Would you like to? I know Karyn is not for everybody. It will
No.
have to go through the process of the interview, like I did, like I mentioned earlier. She have to because, and I get you. It is, we're not for everybody. We're not teachers for everybody. No one is.
No, I don't want just anybody in my class. If they want just a set to do things to other people, I don't want them in my class. I do not want to be responsible at a karmic level for the power that neuro-linguistic programming can have if they just want to do things to other people. That advertising uses this all the time with you. That's why you buy things you don't even want or need. That's why people believe things that aren't true and get inside of themselves. They're like, I don't know, but they'll go down a passage because they're disconnected. When we're disconnected from ourselves, because we've been quite literally done to in marketing, advertising, world perspectives, etc. So it's definitely only people who really, in their deep heart of hearts, want to make a real difference in the world and want to understand themselves and other people and be actively involved in their magnificence. Those are the people I want to work with. Absolutely. Thank you, Monica. It's true. Yes, I've got some classes coming up. But I'm not going to put them online here. I'll put my website up and you can feel free to access me. Follow me on Facebook, LinkedIn. I think I've got an Instagram one too, but that just sort of feeds through from Facebook. And just connect with me. That is honestly the best way. We'll discover what it is that you're actually seeking. And it might not be neuro-linguistic programming, but it might be. It might be one of the smaller courses that I do in relation to energy work or heart song or other things that I do as well. So today we are talking about the dynamic body of knowledge. If there are any practitioners who are interested in working with my type of training and you're interested in master practitioner, neuro-linguistic programming master practitioner, which we call the dynamic bodies of wisdom, we get into some very in-depth understandings of things behind the scenes. And we learn to make change before change is even perceived. That is the magician at that deep, deep master practitioner level. And if you want to, there'd be a heavy interview process with that one. It wouldn't be just an acceptance. because we need to understand what your understanding of neuro-linguistic programming is, how you're applying it, and not who necessarily you were taught with, but what your experiences are, and how we could be in support of you. So
I am fascinated that that's my next class, because I'm also like Karyn, always searching for more information. The curiosity always take me to wonderful places. And that's my next class, the one I'm going to
yes,
be
it
taking
is.
as master.
August. Yep.
Yeah.
August we start. It's a 18-day program. We're very, very blessed to have Mark Clausen teaching us spiral dynamics on day 3. He's a master trainer of neurolinguistic programming and has been for years. So he's going to teach spiral dynamics. So that's the value section. World views, Claire Graves' model. It's a deep practice, and something that I just know you're going to love, Monica, because it adds a whole nother field of knowledge and wisdom. We go through meta programs. We understand values at a much, 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 much deeper level than anybody could ever understand as we operate through those. We work with criteria utilization patterns. So that's how to help heal through language, and make a real difference with beliefs and values, like when somebody's not feeling worthy. We also look deeply into strategies and modeling, which is understanding the excellence and participating in learning how somebody else does themselves at a deep level. What else do we go through? Paradigmatic metaphors. So we look into the deep, deep inner metaphors that people live their lives through. So it could be that, for example, Cinderella was one of them, sort of for our age and even older, where inside a woman's body at the age of 50 or something, she's still being Cinderella, the little princess in her mind. That sort of, people will align their stories with stories, their inner stories with external stories. Yes, it's a deep, wonderful, exciting. My juices are coming up when we think about how much it is. And I've been preparing for this almost all year. I can't even, yeah, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool experience. I've just got over here. I was just touching my book. So it's like, we've been right inside of the depth that it takes to understand it, to actually teach at this level. And it's been a miracle and quite magical to walk down the path. We've got a room full of people, and Monica is joining us too. So I'm excited about that. Thank you, Monica.
Oh no, it's my pleasure, because the thing is, every time that we learn a new technique, yes, we can use it for our business if you're a coach, healer, whatever you are. But the thing is, we practice it in ourselves.
Yeah.
First, we change ourselves. So we go to the next level in everything that we are learning and growing and expanding. So it is the next level where we are going with this. So
Yeah.
you're
Thank you.
ready to go to the next level, contact Karyn. I highly
Yeah.
recommend, like I did when many years ago, that that it was just the universe and me with her, basically.
We were so blessed. We were so blessed to connect, and we've had so much fun, haven't we? Over the years through learning, and I've just been a witness of how much difference you've made in the world. So thank you.
Years before the pandemic. So that was nobody was teaching online, and I experienced that. So now everybody's teaching online, so people are more accepting about that. But in that time, it wasn't.
You're right. Oh my gosh, you are so right, because we had videos up and we were accommodating this wonderful woman from Texas. Yeah.
So it was
That's right.
unique
McAllen,
for
Texas. Yes.
everybody.
It was unique, wasn't it? Yeah.
This is why when you call me in Messenger, I was like, do I answer? How is this?
The courage. Oh, Monica. I don't know. Has this been useful? And I'd love to hear back from anybody who found that useful.
Yes. I think it has been useful. I see some of my students, they were watching it. And so you have any questions, you can respond here, or you can send a message to Karyn. That is the best. So
Yeah.
like that, you get in contact and get in contact with her energy. That is just wonderful. She really transformed my life and continue transforming it. So I'm so grateful for you, Karyn. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I love you, Monica. Thank you.
And thank you for everybody for listening this. And it helped you, please share it with someone else. You might find it fascinating that you might help someone else just by sharing this video. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, lovely.